Okay, welcome to our weekly Pnimis HaTorah Shiur podcast. I noticed last week that when I did not start with this story, the Olam fell asleep pretty quickly, and it was hard to wake them up with plain Torah. So try to get our adrenaline pumping a little with this Hasidic Maisa, or any Maisa. This week it's going to be a story about the Heilige Rebbe Reb Zusha. The idea of Pnimis is that ultimately when you live your life in a little more Pnimistic, so what appears to be an everyday event to the average person, to the tzaddikim, they see something a lot deeper to it, hence known as a pnimius. Or as what seems to be a big nisayon, a scary event to the average person, to someone, the tzaddikim who are connected to pnimius, they see nisyonis as opportunity. Okay, because they're able to see a little bit deeper at what a Kadosh Baruch Hu, they see communication, right? When you're living in a world of pnimius, so you're living with a Kadosh Baruch Hu, because what's the pnimius of the world? Hashem. So when anything goes on, a pneumistic person sees a conversation with a Kadosh Baruch Hu. He sees a communication from a Kadosh Baruch Hu, and he responds in kind. Masha'enkein, when you live in the chisanistic world, things are just random. When random things are happening, right? What do? You put locks on your doors, and you surround your shul with machine guns, right? Because who knows when the next random thing is going to happen, right? Because it happened random here, random there. Who knows where the next random thing is going to happen? Right, Masha'enkein, when you're looking at things a little bit more pnimius, right? So you recognize that a Kadosh Baruch Hu is being Teves something, and your response is a little bit different. Okay, I'm not saying people should put down the machine guns. No, I am saying that, but but no one's going to listen to me anyway. But I'll just give you an example. Okay, that we'll be a little bit cutting edge tonight, because us yeshiva guys, with the congregation people, did not make it here tonight. But just to give you an example of what this idea of a way a tzaddik may look at a situation. Okay, there was a few years ago, a couple times, two big tragedies in Brooklyn, right? There were fires in people's homes, right? And Nebuch, there were tragedies, a couple of very, very, very big tragedies. And the chitzonistic view of this is, okay, we have to make a campaign. Everybody has to get their fire alarms, smoke detectors and fire alarms up and running. We'll be giving out free fire smoke detectors, and we're going to help everyone make sure their smoke detectors and fire alarms are set up properly in order to prevent such tragedies from repeating themselves. That's like the chitzonistic view of it. Okay, kind, nice idea. I'm not saying people shouldn't have smoke alarms in the house, but the response is, okay, there were fires, there's tragedies. What's the answer? Smoke detectors, right? That is just a very chisanistic view. Pneumistic, Klal Yisrael has to look what is going on in our pnimis. What are we doing wrong? Why is there such a gzeirah? This gzeirah is from a Kadosh Baruch Hu. Kadosh Baruch Hu is not punishing people because they did not have smoke detectors, right? The reason why such terrible things are happening, there's something going on. Hashem is waking us up, and He's not waking us up to say, "Okay, you got the smoke detectors. Okay, I'm happy now." Right? That's a little ludicrous, right? So to leave it at the smoke. Again, I'm not saying not to put the smoke detectors, and maybe not to encourage people to smoke detectors. Maybe that is a fair status. But if that's the whole response to it, and it ends there, you're kamat being a kaifer, right? Because what you're saying is, if only everyone had smoke detectors, these things wouldn't happen. Right, and you say, "Oh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is sort of, he wants us to get smoke detectors." He creates fires, he makes things that happen, the tragedies happen, and the answer is smoke detectors. That's a very chitzonistic view, and unfortunately missing the point. Okay, so sometimes the chitzonistic view mamish misses the point, right, or it doesn't get the point. I'm not saying miss it totally, but it doesn't get to the point. And sometimes the chitzonistic view just doesn't get to the deeper point that you would get so much more out of. Let's give you another famous story of a chitzonistic view, right, and a pnimistic view. Okay, and again, this is a story that was said over many years ago, and I remember about 30 years ago when Pesach Chron said of the story. He says, "I didn't say the story in public because I was advised not to, because people are going to take it the wrong way, and what I just said about smoke detectors, people may take the wrong way. Oh, Rabbi Eli says we don't need to have smoke detectors." That's not the point, right? Again, the point is that when there's a tragedy from a Kadosh Baruch Hu, right? HaKadosh Baruch Hu making such a huge event, such a huge tragedy. The answer is not, okay, we're good to go, we got our smoke detectors. That's not the answer. The answer is, Klal has to do some deep soul searching. What is going wrong in Klal Yisrael? And actually, Kadosh Baruch Hu is being Teves, something in our Avodas Hashem, in our Kiddush Shem Shemayim. The Ma'aseh was many years ago. Our Moshe gets into the car, and the driver wants to drive. Our Moshe didn't put on a seatbelt. So this is like in the early 70s when seatbelts were becoming like the in thing. I remember as a kid, everyone started putting on seatbelts. Cars didn't even have seatbelts, necessarily. It was like an option, At some point it became mandatory, like in the early 70s, I believe. Anyway, so Ramesh Feinstein gets into the car, and the driver says, "Whether Rosh Yeshiva mind putting on his seatbelt?" So Ramesh says, "Darf nicht. I don't need to put on a seatbelt." His message was, it's like, it's about Shem in the Welt, right? And the seatbelt isn't going to make it or break it, and you make your stylist to drive safe. I'm comfortable with that. And he says, maybe Rashi wants to put on a seatbelt. He says, "Nech, darf nicht." So the guy says, "Would the Rosh Yeshiva do Yeda Tova? Do me a favor. Would the Rosh Yeshiva mind doing me a favor and putting on the seatbelt?" Click. Yeda Tova, put on the seatbelt. Not a problem. You asked me to do your taiva, I'm happy to do your taiva. You asked me to put on a seatbelt because you think that the seatbelt is going to make an afkamina in my chances of survival to tomorrow morning or this afternoon. That, I'm telling you, you don't have to live that way. You know what I'm saying? That was his message. Okay? So I remember, this goes back a long time. I was a kid when I heard the story, and he said, Rabbi Pesach Krohn said, I will not ever, I was advised not to say this in public because people are going to say, Moshe said, you don't need to wear a seatbelt. That wasn't the point. The point is, you're telling me to put on a seatbelt because you're concerned for my life. You're being a hypochondriac, right? You're walking around with a little over anxious or a little anxiety because all the media is telling you about seatbelt. Don't get caught up in the media. You got to stay focused on the HaKadosh Baruch Hu runs the world, and when that's what's guiding you. So then, at that point, you want to put a seatbelt from that vantage point, fine. But if you're sitting here so nervous that, oh no, if you don't wear a seatbelt, Chas v'shalom, you're going to, something bad may happen to you, That already was a message that Moshe Lani Saiti was moving this person away from. Okay? Those are chitzonistic views. Let's give you a story of a pneumistic view and see if we get to the parsha a little bit. There's some high-level Ramazim. I was in, 24 hours ago, I was in Tzfas by the Rizal's Kever, and I was in Meron by the Reb Shimon Bar Yochai. So, and it's nach 8 days of Chanukah where all the Iris Haganuzim were in his gal to all the tzaddikim, and maybe, who knows, maybe had a little giluyim. Now the emphasis, they say that if you look at Sfarim of the big tzaddikim, they say after the Torah that they wrote, like after Yontif, and like after Chanukah and after Yom Tov, they see the Torah is like extra high level, and you could see the hashpah of the Yom Tovim in the Torah that they're mechadish in those manim. The story of the Rebbe Zusha goes as a lady comes to the Rebbe Zusha, and she says that she's in Emunah, unfortunately, for the last 10 years. Her husband disappears. She has no idea where he is. Right, back in the day before cell phones and telephones, right, a person could be 20 miles away, 30 miles away. I have no idea, or whatever. Probably a little more than 20, 30 miles away. But at the end of the day, they could be 50, 60, 100 miles away. And, no one knows anybody. There isn't so much communication, and that's it. They lose their identity, and they can't be found. So if a guy disappears, he doesn't give his wife a get. She can't get married. She's stuck. She's in a good. She comes to the Rebbe. She says, "Give me a bracha that I should find my husband. I want to get remarried. I need to get a get from my husband." So Rebbe Zusha says, "Where do you live?" She lives, 100 miles away. She came for a long trip to the Rebbe for a bracha. The Rebbe says, "I'll tell you what." He says, "Today, at lunchtime, right, 12:30, 1 o'clock, go to this and this restaurant and this in the street, right? You'll have a Yeshua." Okay. She gets to the restaurant 15 minutes early, 12:15. She's sitting there, right? She orders some tuna fish sandwich, right? Everything bagel. And she, right, medium cup of coffee, and she's waiting, right? 12:30, 12:45, 10 to 1, a guy walks into the restaurant, and She doesn't recognize him, but the way he's carrying himself, she looks a little familiar, and she looks closer, and she looks closer, and she realizes, hey, that's my husband. She runs over to him, you rascal! She grabs him by his tie, schleps him to the Rebbe Zusha, and the Rebbe Zusha brings the basin together, tells her how you talking, you leave your wife in Aguna, he gives her a get, and she's free to get married now. Okay? I imagine she got married and lived happily ever after and raised a wonderful family with a new husband. Okay, we'll add that part to the story. So the word spreads in the street. The Rebbe Zusha gemacht ha-meifes, about meifes, about ruach hakodesh, and the whispers get back to Rebbe Zusha that they're saying about him that he's a Baal meifes. So he says, Rabbi Say, let me explain to you. There's no meifes over here. Garnish the meifes. Why did I tell her to go to that restaurant over there? He says, I was going to the mikveh this morning on my way to davening, 5:30 in the morning, and as I'm walking down the block, I overhear a conversation between two people. One guy says to the other guy, excuse me, I'm new in town over here, and the axle of my wagon broke. Do you know where I could go to get my axle fixed? Or maybe the sole of his shoe is broken. Because one Yid is asking another Yid, can you help me? I'm new in town. I need advice how to fix my wagon, my shoes, whatever it was. The guy tells him, yeah, don't worry, go with this in this place, this in this block. The guy will take care of it for you over there. I'm walking to shul and I'm realizing, like, why did I hear this conversation? Right? I go to shul every day this block. I don't always hear conversations be such random conversations. So I just couldn't understand what's this all about. This is not part of my Avodas Hashem as far as I know. When this lady came 2 hours later and said she's missing her husband, right? She doesn't know where he is. I realized that guy that's new in town must be her husband. That's why I overheard this conversation. The new guy in town must be her husband. He arrived in town over here. If he's in town, and he's a guest, he's going to have to eat lunch. Where do all the guests go to eat lunch? And this restaurant. So I sent it to this restaurant, lunchtime. And Kachava, he came in. Okay? So on the one hand, he's touching up as not being Ruach HaKodesh. No Ruach HaKodesh over here. But on the other hand, it is Ruach HaKodesh. Because this is the pnimis of a tzaddik's view of the world. When you connect to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, everything that happens in your life is a message from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and nothing random going on. So Mela, you connect to the world in a totally different way. And this is Ruach HaKodesh. Ruach HaKodesh means living connected. Right? It doesn't per se meaning being able to tell you what stock options to buy for tomorrow morning. Right? But it means that you live connected and you have a deeper insight. And that comes from a Makom Kadosh. So this is the goal of Yidden in this world, to live connected to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Obviously we connect to HaKadosh Baruch Hu with daven. Right? And you could talk about, remind everyone, connect to HaKadosh Baruch Hu when you daven. You can remind everyone, connect to HaKadosh Baruch Hu when you learn Torah. Right? That's Shiurim on their own. This year is a little bit more basic. Connect to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, walking down the street, connect to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. In everything you observe, understand that there's HaKadosh Baruch Hu behind the scenes over here, and take him out from behind the scenes, put him front and center in your life, and all of a sudden your life takes on a totally different view. Okay, everything that happens in your life is a message. If it's something that's chas v'shalom not so good, you recognize there's a message over here. You recognize that this whatever's going on provides me with opportunity. Because if I'm nervous about something, you know what? I'm a little more humble today. If I'm a little more humble today, I'm going to look out for someone else's chesed to do. And I'll end up doing more chesed. If I do more chesed, you know what? I'm going to get bracha that Hashem wants to give me. You understand? So people that live more pneumistic, everything that goes on, and specifically nisyonis that go on in people's life, all of a sudden taking a totally different view. A person lives in a chitzayistic world, and he's faced with something that's scary. He's faced with something that is not going his way. What does he do? He's very reactive to it. He runs for cover, right? How does he run for cover? He emotionally runs for cover. He shuts himself down, right? He may climb underneath his covers, never come out, right? When you're reactive to what's going on in the world, right? As if things are out of control. I just have to protect myself, right? So you're living life one way. A person living with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he doesn't have to protect himself from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. A person that knows HaKadosh Baruch Hu is in his life, he knows HaKadosh Baruch Hu only wants to give you good. You'll have a kasha. Why is this happening? What do I need this for? Hashem only wants to give me good. Oh, I must need it. What do I need to take out of this that's ultimately going to provide me with the chesed Hashem wants to give me? Oh, all of a sudden, it's a totally different view of everything that goes on in your life. So tzaddikim, when they see nisyonis, they recognize there's what to be misakin. Okay? That's a key word. Tzaddikim see nisyonis, tzaddikim see opportunities to be misakin. Tzaddikim see midas hadin in the world. Okay? They see judgment going on. They say, we don't react to midas hadin. We're proactive, meaning we accept the message, and by accepting the message, we can be mamtik the din, and we can be mahapich the din from din to chesed. Okay, that's the avoid of tzaddikim. Tzaddikim are mahapich the din from din to chesed. Okay, in Svarim of Kabbalah, it's called being mamtik the dinim. You sweeten the dinim, and you take the midas hadin and you transform it into chesed. This idea is brought out in a vart about Rosh Hashanah. And I said over years ago, if you listen to the gold edition of the Arcos, you will find it over there in one of the El Shiurim. I don't remember who said it, but if you listen, maybe you can tell me remind me who said it. It says, I say, what is the greatest Yom Hadin in Klal Yisrael? Rosh Hashanah, right? Rosh Hashanah, most people dread Rosh Hashanah, right? Yom Hadin, why should you not dread Rosh Hashanah, right? Being judged, Chas v'Shalom, who knows what's going to be, right? Mi b'mayim, mi b'eish. And again, I'm not saying to remove all the dread, but you have to, together with it, you have to approach it with a more proactive approach. And that's exactly what the Hasidic Svarim do when it comes to the whole Yom Hadin and Rosh Hashanah, to give you a more proactive approach, to understand you're here to affect the din, not to be mekabel the din. You're here to be mamtik the din, you're here to be mahapich the din. So the Sefer said the following part. The pasuk on Rosh Hashanah tells us, it calls Rosh Hashanah, it says on Rosh Hashanah, Yom Teruah Yelachem. Okay, it's a day of Teruah. What is Teruah? Right, Teruah is the Gemara has different shots on what it is. Is a Yalala Yalule? Is it the Teruah that we know, the very fast tones, right, like a wailing type of sound? Or is it a groaning type of sound? A Ganach Ganuche, which is the shvarms that we do, when it's more like a moaning type of sound. Okay? So meaning Teruah is a expression of midas hadin, right? Wailing and groaning, right? That's not what people do when they win the lottery, right? That's not what people do when they wake up in the morning and say, "Mai dani lefanecha." That's what people do when they're faced with something that they're not very, very happy with, very comfortable with. They groan, okay? Because that's what Rosh Hashanah is. The person is being judged, okay? The Torah says you're being judged. This is a cause for concern, and it's meant to be a cause for concern. But how do you respond to this cause for this concern? Zak this Sefer, I say, the Rabbanan come and they say that on every Teruah has a tekiah before it and after it. Okay, Midrabanan, they're Darish, right? They have a tekiah before the Teruah and a tekiah after the Teruah, and they're Darish from Psukim. So he says, what's tekiah? Tekiah is a curl pasha. It's a straight curl, which describes rachamim, which describes chesed, a straight, unbroken curl. Okay. So Meir says, the Torah says it's Yom Hadin. It is Yom Hadin. Chazal tell you, but how do you respond to Yom Hadin? You encapsulate the Yom Hadin with a tekiah before it, the midas chesed before it, and the midas chesed after it, meaning you buffer the din with chesed, and you can be mabtik the din into chesed, which our tekiah shayfer is not something that is meant to be a tool that we have to feel confident in. We blow shayfer, and the shayfer has the ability of inspiring a Kadosh Baruch Hu Kaviyachol to go from the midas hadin to kisei hadin to the kisei rachamim. One of the kavanas of shayfer, right? Oh, Elikim b'Teruah, Hashem b'kol shayfer. Hashem is midas, Elikim is midas hadin, b'Teruah it's midas hadin. All Elikim b'Teruah. Hashem b'kol shayfer. When you have the kol pasha of the tekiah, it turns into midas ha chesed, midas harachim. So he says that's pshat in the pasuk. Tiku b'chayri shayfer, b'kasel yom chagenu. Right, you have to tiku b'chayri shayfer. You do a tekiah on Rosh Hashanah. Ki chayk li Yisrael hu. Right, because this is Klal Yisrael's job. right? Tiku b'chayis shayfa. Rosh Hashanah we do tekiyas. Klal Yisrael is darish to do tekiyas ki chaykel Yisrael. Who this is our job. Klal Yisrael's job is to add the midas hachesed, to be mahapich the din. Mishpat lelekei Yaakov. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says it's mishpat, but Klal Yisrael says no, tiku, right? Instead of just sitting and being reactive to din, no, we face the din head on, and we're happy to. We have the confidence that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives us the ability to be mahapich this din to rachamim. Okay, that's the Akdama. This week's parsha. Okay, Klal Yisrael. The entire Klal Yisrael as it existed in that time is Yaakov Ubanov. Okay? The entire Klal Yisrael is in a tragic circumstance. The entire Klal Yisrael has no parnasa. Right? There's a Rav Ba'aretz. And we notice that every one of the Avos also had to deal with Rav. Avram had a Rav, Vayi Rav Bart. Yitzchak, Vayi Rav Bart, Mavada Rav, Arishan, Shaya, Bimei Avram. Yitzchak has to deal with Rav. Yaakov Avinu has a Rav. What's going on? Every one of the Avos has to go through famine and has to try to figure out how are we going to feed our families, and chas v'shalom we don't starve to death, right? But everyone has to go through this chisarn in parnasa and this fear of famine, which is, nowadays it's like people are worried about they're not going to get the sushi, three nights a week. You know what I'm saying? Oh no, I can't afford steak. So I only eat chicken because I can't afford steak. And back then it was like if you could get a crusty, if you could get a moldy piece of bread, the people were if they could count on a moldy piece of bread, they'd be happy. But they couldn't even count on that, right? And this is every one of the Avos had to go through this union of famine. Now, how do the Avos who are the representatives? They're the whole Klal Yisrael at that point, right? They recognize if there's a famine, then this has to do with us, right? Because the world is here for us. The world has some sort of chisarn in it. Obviously, we're here to be misakin this famine. Our job is to take this midas hadin and somehow, right, be mahapich. Okay. Now, just to tell you the end of the story, right, and that's what they did, right. Yaakov comes down to Mitzrayim, right. Boom, the Rav is done, right. That's not just a historical fact, right. That's because Yaakov's avodah was to be mahapich the midas hadin of Rav and turn into rachamim. And add the midah of chesed and to make it that to undo the midah sadin, and that's exactly what he did. Meaning when the Avos see nisayin, right? They don't just hunker down, fill up your basement with canned food, move into a cave someplace and hunker down. No. They go out, and their job ultimately is to be misakin that. Okay. Now this is obvious whenever there is the entire Klal Yisrael would be in a matzav of sakana, so it's obvious, right? The tzaddikim, they start rallying the troops, right? There's a message from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's clear the message is from HaKadosh Baruch Hu when what? When the whole Klal Yisrael is being affected by it, because we know the whole world is here for Klal Yisrael. The whole Klal Yisrael is at risk. It's clear we got to do something, right? And you feel this in Eretz Yisrael more than in America. So in Eretz Yisrael, right, when things are going, when there's sakana in Eretz Yisrael, right, chas v'shalom, when there's wars and different things and scud missiles, right? So there's this sense of collectivity over there. This collective feeling that the entire Klal Yisrael is at risk, and Memela, you feel okay. We have to daven. We have to say Tehillim. Masha Ekein, when a person has just an individual nisayin, it's harder to recognize this responsibility. You sort of feel like, I have a nisayin, I'm a nebuch, right? That's sort of the way the world views nisayinis. He's a nebuch, he died, he was sick. Because he was sick, he deserves to die? You know what I'm saying? It's like, how did he get sick? It's like, he died. Why did he die? He was sick. Oh, he died. He wasn't sick. Oh, no. You know what I'm saying? If someone's sick, so he's a nebuch. You know what I'm saying? Nebuch, he was sick, so he died. Okay, nebuch, he doesn't have parnasa. He's a nebuch. Whatever the situation is, we view as individual nisyanis as, okay, he's a nebuch, right? And the person dealing with nisayin in an individual type of way, he accepts that message totally. I'm a nebuch. What does a nebuch do? A nebuch crawls into his bed, right? He doesn't come out. A nebuch doesn't proactively face this nisyonis. He doesn't have that sense b'chlal that he could. But the Pneumius says no, right? I just think the pshat is the famous Chazal says, right? Chayv kolach miyisrael leimer masi yagia ma'isa avaisa Avram Yitzchak Yaakov. You have to have Avram Yitzchak and Yaakov's outlook on the world, right? Or not the outlook. I'm going to say his outlook. We have to reach their madrega. How can we reach their madrega? Right? They were neviim, right? The pshat could be you have to have their outlook on the world and recognize that just as Avram Yitzchak and Yaakov understood that we're the whole Klal Yisrael and everything that happens is our responsibility to be misakin, every individual has to look at himself. I'm an Av in my own world, right? I have my own individual world. In this world of mine, I'm the Avos. I'm the Av. And my approach to every nisayon in life has to be exactly the approach of the Avos, a sense of responsibility to recognize it's a message from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and a sense of confidence that if HaKadosh Baruch Hu is giving me this, He wants me to understand that and affect the din and turn it into chesed. And this gives a person an outlook on how literally to transform his outlook on life and how to deal with the unpleasantries that life presents at any given time. So let's just give you a couple remazim as to what the Sfar HaKadoshim say, be'ikr from the Emunah on this week's parsha. He says as there's a Rav Ba'aretz, and Yaakov Avinu tells the Shvatim, Shuvru lanu mat eichel, right? Ve'em Avinu, Shuvru lanu mat eichel. This is Yaakov's response. There's a Rav, okay? Shuvu, right? Go back. Shivru lanu, right? Mat eichel. Go and gather for us mat eichel. Okay? On the outside, just sounds like a simple. You need food. There's a family. Got to go get food. Okay, go get us some food, right? Zakta Dimeinaim. He says a number of remazim over here that Yaakov Avinu is giving an approach of being mamtik dinim, and he says as midas hadin is elikim, right? Elikim is midas hadin. Elikim is begematra 86. Okay. So he says as Shivru lanu. You have to break the midas hadin. Okay? How do you break the midas hadin? He says, well, if you break 86 in half, right? If you break 86 in half, right? What do you get? 43. Right? 86 and half is 43. He says, Shivru lanu, break the midas hadin in half. How? How does that help? Because when you break 86 into 43, what do you get? Instead of Elikim, you get Teves Hashem. Right? Teves Hashem, right? Teves Hashem is 17 Teves, and Hashem is 26, V'matcha 43, which is half of 86. So what you do is, you break the midas hadin in half, you get Teves Hashem. Okay? And and your kavod is that you recognize in every midas hadin as an opportunity to bring out the Teves Hashem, and this is how you mamtik the dinim. He says weiter, Ma'at is bigmatria 119, right? Which is bigmatria 7 times Tev. Okay? Eichel is bigmatria 51, which is watch 3 times Tev. Okay? He says, Shuvu Shivru Lanu, break down that Midas Elikim with bringing out the Tev of Hashem. You end up having 10 times Tev. 10 is all the spheres, right? You have the 10 is the full gamut of Madregas of Shefa in all their lamas, right? The 10 spheres, all of them, it's multiple 10 spheres, but ultimately what he's saying is you'll have Ma'at Oichel, you end up having the Zayin, Tachtoinus, the 7 lower levels of Hanhaga, will all be Tev, and then Oichel is the top 3 Hanhagas of Chacham Bin and Das, will have their Tev also, and this is going to turn everything from Rav, right, to Tev. Okay? That is one of his Ramazim. He says another Ramaz Azay. This is the Emunah of Jacob. He says another beautiful Ramaz. Midas hadin is Shem Elikim. Okay? Elikim is Midas Hadin. The shame that is Mamtik Elikim, obviously Shem Hashem is Chesed, but there's the shame the Sfar HaKadoshim bring down that is the Mamtik of Midas Hadin, of Elikim. The Mamtik of Elikim is a shame that's similar to Elikim. However, you leave the Aleph from the beginning of Elikim and the Mem from the end of Elikim the same. The three middle letters, the Lamed, the K, and the Yud, you switch those letters for the letter before them in the Aleph base. So the Lamed becomes a Chaf, the Hey becomes a Dalet, and the Yud becomes a Tes. Okay, so you have to have a Chaf, a Dalet, and a Tes instead of the Lamed, the K, and the Yud. So Elikim at this point, instead of being Bigamatria 86, is now Bigamatria 75. Okay? Now Bigamatria 74. Bigamatria 74. Okay? And that's the mituk of that's what's mamtik the din of Elikim. Okay, as I state from the Arizal, I guess probably a Zayar, says this idea. So he says that Shuvru Lanu, come and break Lanu is the Midas Hadin. He says Ma'at, right, is Bigamatria Elikim 86. We said it's Bigamatria 119. It's 86 plus the three letters that you switched out. You switched out the Lamed, the K, and the Yud for a Chaf, a Dal, and a Tes, right, which gives you a 33, right? 33 and 86 gets you to Ma'at. Okay, so Shuvu Lanu Ma'at, right? Break Lanu the Midas Hadin of Elikim and make Elikim into Ma'at by switching out the Lamed, K, Yud with the Chaf and Daled and the Tes, and mainly Bigamatria 119 Ma'at, which is the mitig of Shem Elikim. Then he has a remes for the Shei Eichel. He says, Eichel is Bigamatria Kel Havaya. Okay, ultimate Midas HaChesed is Midas Kel. Okay, when you have the Yud Gimel Midas HaRachmim, is Hashem Kel Racham Chanan. Right, Api Kabbalah, the Yud Gimel Midas HaRachmim don't start with Hashem. The first Midas Rachmim is Kel. This is the ultimate Midas Rachmim. It's Midas HaChesed B'Chayzik. It's like a powerful Kel means a lot of power. Right, it's a powerful Midas HaChesed. That's Kel. Okay, so he says Eichel is Bigamatria Kel Yud Kevav. Okay, the Midas HaChesed of Hashem, the ultimate Chesed of Hashem. So he says when you shover the Midas Hadin with this kavana of switching the middle letters, right, from making Shem Elikim from 86 to 74, right, you end up getting Ma'at and Eichel Kel Havaya. Interestingly enough, this shame of Aleph and the Chaf, Dal and the Tes and Mem, Bigamatria 74, is Bigamatria Bitachon. Okay, and it's actually called the shame HaBitachon. Okay, this is the shame of Bitachon, which just saying things very pashut. A person is faced with Chas v'Shalom Midas Hadin. What's the mamtik the din? Bitachon. So what the pshat is when a person is faced with anything that's difficult for them, what is Hashem being teveya? Right? Don't run and hide. Be mamtik the din. How are you mamtik? Have bitachon. You have bitachon. That is the mituk hadin. And all of a sudden you realize you're in a different place now because Hashem is just supposed to squeeze out this bitachon from a person. When a Kadosh Baruch Hu is squeezed out the bitachon, now you got the message. You got the message. The din could disappear, and the famine could go away, and you will have only parnas gesund and everything good in your lives. I'll just for your eyes with two more points. The Friday night Kiddush, there's a Kavanah brought down from Arizal that says the following, that again, the avodah of tzaddikim is always to be mamshech chesed in the world, and to be mamtek din in this dinim in the world. Come Shabbos Kiddush, and all the chol dinim is amrina, right? Like we say in Kigavda, the din disappears, and our job is to go along with what the midah of Shabbos is, what the anhag of Shabbos is. We have to go along, and our kavanas are to be mamtik all the dinim, that there shouldn't be any din in the world. One of the kavanas for Kiddush involves this shame of Shem HaBitachon. When you make Kiddush on a kais is Gematria 86. A kais is din. Why? Because din is a keli, right? When you talk about chesed is or. Kadosh Baruch Hu is pouring down. It's described as an or, as a hashpah of or, of light, right? Din is necessary because a din is the keli that holds everything. It doesn't provide, right? But it holds things. Now, Midas Din holds a Russian in place from doing Averis, right? So it crushes him, right? Because it's stopping, it has to hold things in place. He's expanding himself badly, comes on Midas Din and contains him, right? The Midas said, but Din is necessary to be Makabel all sorts of Shafar Bracha, okay? Because if you don't have a keli to put it in, right, it doesn't, there's no place for it. Din is ultimately the keli that's Makabel, all the chesed. The kais is the keli. It's being Gematria 86 Elikim. However, to be merabitz and mita kadin, so one of the kabbalas from that result is you put yayin into the kais on the inside, right? Fill to the top, right? Yayin is Gematria 70. Your 5 fingers hold the cup on the outside, okay? So the yayin plus your 5 fingers is Gematria 75. Which is the gematria of the Shem HaBitachon, the gematria Bitachon, the gematria, the Aleph, Chaf, and the Daled, a Tes, and a Mem. And you mechav when you hold a kais that you be mabdik the dinim of kais with the yain and your 5 fingers. That's a kavanah, just using this zach, using this shame that we mentioned over here. Just one final point to bring out as a. I don't know if I saw this any place, but I meant to check a certain sefer home where I think I might have seen it. I imagine I saw it there. At least this idea. Rav is famine. When you mahapich, in order to be mahapich, you have lots of times when you want to be mahapich things that are bad to good. The same word that's described as bad, you can be mahapich it around and make it good. For instance, we say Shabbos is we say ritzei v'achlitzenu. Right? Shabbos Indian of Ritzei. Ritzei v'achlitzei shaloi tehei tzara. Tzara and Ritzei are the same letters. A person can chas v'shalom have tzara, tzadi reish hey, but instead on Shabbos you turn the tzara into a ratza, into Ritzei, right? Or you have a person can have chas v'shalom a nega, right, which is bad, and a nega can be nehepach to oineg. Into tainig, into pleasure, right? Nega becomes einig, tsar becomes ratza. There's this idea, and this is just 2 examples, many examples of it. When it comes to ra'av, what's mahapich a ra'av? What's mahapich a ra'av is a lashon of arev, arev avdachol tayv. Right? The mid of David HaMelech is the mid of arev avdachol tayv. Arev means that you're an Arev, you're a guarantor, you take responsibility. And the Midah of Malchus of Dovid HaMelech, he says about it, Arev Avdachol Tayv, is ultimately the Midah of Dovid HaMelech is he's Mekabel Achrayis for Klal Yisrael. That's his Din Melech. When we're talking about over here, the Rav being Nepach, right? I want to suggest that, again, it happened when Yaakov came down to Mitzrayim. Who came down to Mitzrayim before Yaakov? That's Yehuda Shachlafan of Geishna. Okay? It took 3 midas to come together to stop this Rav, which is Yaakov, Yosef, and Yehuda. Okay? Which means Yaakov is the ultimate mashpia. Yosef, we spoke about in previous Shiurim, Yosef is an extension of Yaakov. He is the funnel of all of Yaakov's madregas, and Yehuda is the kli that's mekabelit. He's Malchus, okay? Which is Midas Hadin, Dina de Malchus Adina. He's Makabel. This is the all the plumbing for Hashbayis Teves Minas Kabel. Once you have Yaakov, Yosef, and Yehuda together, right? These are the Malachim of Klal Yisrael. Yehuda is ultimately is Mashiach, but before Mashiach you need Mashiach ben Yosef, Mashiach ben Dovid. They work hand in hand for the Shleimus of Klal Yisrael. Once you have all these hashpahs in place, right, which means they're the responsible parties of Klal Yisrael are all set up. We take the ra'av and we transform it into aroiv, and then this is the mituk of the dinim of the famine, and this is how the tzaddikim in this week's parsha face their adversity, and this is the lesson that we all need to understand. Facing adversity is when the going gets tough, tzaddikim get the message, and the mamtik the dinim, and the whole Klal Yisrael benefits from their avodah and their bitachon. Should be zeichet to have bitachon, and the gula shlema b'karev. Good Shabbos.